everyone. Super excited to be here today with Nuria Rivera. She is one of my favorite people and a huge inspiration to me and lots of people in the industry. So thank you so much, Nuria, for joining us.
Thanks, Kristin. It's such a pleasure. I adore you. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you were easily one of the first people I thought of when I was thinking about people that have made a shift in their lives or had pivotal moments, because we've had many conversations about this. So I wanted you to just share, and again, if others don't know, you are the founder, owner of Novation Title, and have done so much with your career, but would love for you to share a little bit about your career history and then get into we can talk about some of the pivotal moments.
Sure. So I've been in the real estate industry for 15 years now. I got into title and escrow when I was 22. So I was very young, and I loved the real estate industry, and I did that type of work for a 9-year period. I went through the crash. I got into it right before the crash, and I went through the crash, and then, here we are. Crash in a pandemic. But about almost 6 years ago, I decided to launch my own title company. And so I was a technician in it, and I was really good at what I did as far as the everyday work and being a really great closer and escrow officer. And then, so I did that for 9 years, and then I decided to do my own thing. It was kind of a moment where it was a very defining moment for me, where I wanted to really disrupt my industry in a positive way and change that closing experience. So we'll be 6 years old open in August, which is crazy to think about.
That is so amazing. Congratulations on the 6-year mark. So you have shared with me lots of moments when you have had kind of a pivotal moment, but I want you to share a little bit about how, because you came over, your family came over from Mexico and Spain. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And you've always been very driven. And I would love for you to share, like, what was it that you were thinking when you were really young? Like, were you always planning to start your own business, or were you just thinking, like, I want to, achieve the American dream? Or what was your thought process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I arrived to the United States when I was 11 years old from Mexico. My dad's side of the family is Mexican, and my mom's the Spanish side. And so growing up and coming to the United States at such a young age, and obviously my parents had to sacrifice a whole life to come to the United States for a better one. And I had an idea of what the United States of America would look like and would be like. And it was that plus so much more, and so culture shock, but also there were a lot of things I wanted to do as a child, or go and buy school clothes like my friends did, or go do extracurricular activities. And there were limited funds for those type of things. And so I just had a moment where I was really upset about it, and I declared to the universe that I would never live my life that way. And it was a choice that I made at a very young age, where I knew it was going to be up to me to make something of myself. And so that's when that kind of big vision and ambition was born within me. I feel like I've always had a little bit of an entrepreneur spirit. Even as a younger child, I would get on the bus with the kids, and I would sell them like colored pencils and shirts or whatever to make extra money. So I feel that spirit's always been within me. But the moment that, my ambition was born was that when I knew this was a land of opportunity and I need to take full advantage of it.
Amazing. And you were, a young woman starting your company. Were there any challenges around that? Or was there a moment that you had to kind of make a decision, I can own my own company? Was it a mental shift that you had to make, or what was your thought process?
Yeah, I had all of these ideas of how I could really redefine that closing experience for the consumer and the clients, because I felt like people were coming in to a title company or escrow company and feeling like another number. So it was very important for me to apply all these ideas and get very creative on what that experience could actually look like. And so I played with a lot of thoughts around that for about a 4-year period. But when I actually made the decision and I started talking about it, of course, there were a lot of challenges. I would say that most people in my industry were betting on me to not succeed. And I had a lot of people who tried to talk me out of launching my own business. This was during TRID time. Remember that? When TRID came out and CFPB regulations were really a big part of everything. And so everyone was just like, this is the worst timing for you to do this. Like, don't do it. And a lot of the people in my industry, other title company owners it is a very male dominant industry. And so, they're middle plus aged and they're male. And so here's that 31-year-old girl coming in and saying, I want to disrupt this. I want to change this up. So I definitely had more people that, didn't want me to do it and wanted me to talk out of it. But an inner circle that was amazing who really helped empower me to do so. And I know you just had Patty Arvielo on. She was actually a huge influence in that decision-making process, because I went to an ARP event. I'm sure you were probably there. And I saw her speak on a panel, and I just saw this other Latina who was this huge powerhouse, owns one of the largest private mortgage companies in the United States. And I was just like, wow, someone with my similar background is doing such huge things. And so as soon as she was done with that, I went up to her and said, hey, I loved everything you shared. You're amazing. I'm thinking of starting my own title company. And she just looked at me straight in the eye and said, absolutely, go for it. You can totally do this. And it was kind of like the last little piece that I needed to feel like I can. Yes, I believe I can.
I love that so much. Yeah, it's funny. I think I started my business maybe right before you did. We didn't know each other yet, but it was, I remember when TRID was coming out, and I just had so much self-doubt and so much, but yet so much ambition, So it was like, oh, I don't care. The more that you think I can't do this, I'm going to do it anyway. But watching people that looked like me, it really is crazy how powerful that is. And that's something that I just am so passionate about, because if you see someone that's successful that you can at least see yourself in some way, then it allows you to feel like, okay, no, I can imagine myself there. And that's why I think like her voice and now your voice is so powerful and important to our industry, and continuing to allow others to feel that. But having those people also then say like, you can do this, is extremely meaningful. So I love Patty and love that story.
Thank you. It's really important.
So you are kind of already describing some of these moments, but can you describe a moment in your career or your history whenever you made a decision to pivot or do something different, whether that was in your management style or, it could be something small or big, but when you decided to approach something in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, definitely launching the company was a huge moment of just thinking very forward.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what can we implement that where technology is very much involved, but just also making people feel very special when they are signing on their purchase of their home, or they just sold their first home and they cashed out on some big equity, or even refinancing. So that was huge for me, and implementing all of these ideas and really allowing my creative to play in this space was so fun. And so we do create that experience to be very celebratory. And as we continue to come out with new ideas, the rest of my market starts doing those same ideas, which is, funny. It's like complimentary in a way. And then also I'm like, okay, well, what do I come up with next? I want to stay ahead of the game. But that was huge. And I would say perhaps another big moment was definitely last year during COVID, when it was like, we need to pivot and change instantly on allowing all of our employees to have the safety to be able to work from home. And within a 2 day, maybe 3 days, me and my team leader, we were just, taking huge charge and leading and finding solutions and ways to make sure everyone was able to go home. And so that was a huge learning experience, as well as under pressure, what you can actually really create. And that you have so much inside of you that you don't even know. And when things come to, like, when moments like that are just super urgent, that you just figure out a way. And that was really cool to experience and watch as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's incredible. Um, I I know that I mean, I love how much you're talking about customer experience and closings and stuff like that. That's all stuff that I love so much, and I think it does give you a cutting edge. Are there ways that, or a particular way that you want to challenge the status quo in the industry? I mean, other than being who you are and being in a male-dominated world, I think that challenges the status quo in certain ways. But what would you say is kind of your mission in that space to do things differently?
Yes, I feel like business is a very masculine energy. That's just what it is. Business is, it's very direct, taking charge, taking major action. And I love that energy. And you and I both have it because we've shown up in a strong way in business. And I do feel that if we can allow, especially as women in business, we can allow ourselves to really play off more of that feminine energy, which is the nurturer, the kindness, like just all of that energy, just the combination of both of them really creates magic. And so I'm very passionate about this, to somehow find ways to bridge both, because they're both so important and so needed. And if we can allow for more of that to be brought into the workplace, in any leadership position, I know that women a lot of times have a difficult time just trying to get a seat at the table. And so we have at times created this persona of, we have to be strong enough because it took us so much work to get there. We've had to prove ourselves. And in those cases, women become very almost territorial over that spot. And it's a protection, really. So the other women kind of get pushed away. But my whole ideology behind this is, how do we allow for that space to be safe enough where we really are welcoming that feminine energy, and more of it, so that we can balance it out and like really create some major impact in not only our real estate industry, but just in business together. Just that combination of both of those is just seriously magical.
Yeah, that is such an interesting thing to bring up. And I think it's true that business is masculine, but I think it's been more masculine because we oftentimes haven't either been at the table or had an authentic voice at the table. And so I love how authentic you are. And I also think that the more that we strive to not just have a voice at the table, but speak our own and be authentic to ourselves, we're so much more powerful. So you have some really inspiring messages that you share on social media, and I love a lot of the coaching messages that you have out there. I also know that you have had many moments in your life where you've had to kind of challenge the way that you think about things. And, what would you say is one way that you either have challenged the status quo within yourself, like made some kind of shift within yourself, or are continuing to do that in the future?
Yeah, I feel, and it goes a little bit with the last question of just really stepping more into that loving space, that feminine energy that I do hold. I'm definitely not the same leader as that I was 6 years ago. I was probably playing way more off that, very almost strict, although very loving, but I've been very strict at times with just the workspace, because I do have high standards. But I found a really well balanced dance on how to still hold high standards, but that I don't have to show up in such a way. And I do believe that good leaders can pull all of the things in at once. Like sometimes I definitely have to be in that energy a lot of the times and be bold and be direct and all of those things, but relaxing more into coming from that place of like true love and like what is the best outcome for every single person that's within my organization. And that visualization, and we have a meditation room, and there's just this whole aspect of that feminine energy that can be very helpful in the workplace. And as I continue to grow into that, my team feels safer and having hard conversations and being able to communicate with one another and being able to share, right now, I'm currently feeling this way. I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown, and she's, I feel like, a great example of what I'm probably trying to express, is just finding a good balance for us to be able to become just better selves altogether. We spend so much of our time here in the workplace, and it should be a good, healthy experience for everyone.
Oh, that's so good. So true. And I love Brene Brown's stuff. And she's taught me a lot about how to have that sense of, vulnerability and that kind of thing, but with strength. And it's about like showing up for yourself, recognizing when you're feeling a certain way and that you are bringing your emotions to work, you are bringing that's part of yourself, and even tapping into that as a form of leadership, to tap into your intuition. There's so many times that I think, and that's a very feminine energy, but I think I have ignored intuition and recognized that was something I could have come to that decision a lot faster had I not been trying to be logical about everything, and really leaning into that. But all of that is a part of getting to know yourself and being authentic and finding your source of power. So anyway, I love what you're doing, and I think that you are an amazing leader. So thank you so much for sharing today. I know people can follow you on social media. You did have a podcast. I don't know if you're still doing the podcast, but I absolutely loved the episodes that I've listened to. Where should we direct people?
Yeah, thanks, Kristin. It's a pleasure always having great conversations with you. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle's nuria.p.rivera. That's spelled Nuria. P as in Paula. Rivera, Rivera. Also, my podcast is called Nuria's Mastermind. And I'm on Apple, on iTunes, and I'm also on Spotify.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nuria. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.